It's been said that luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity. Welcome to the Australian Hunting Backcountry Podcast, where we will focus on all things hunting in the backcountry, not just in Australia, but everywhere that backcountry hunting is possible. My name is Tobias, and if you're a hunter with no backpacking experience, or even an expert, I would like you to join me as we explore gear, places, and technologies, hear lived experiences, different perspectives, and share the passion that people have for a hard-earned backpack hunt. I appreciate you being here with me as I try to increase the knowledge that will bring us better luck in the backcountry. I'm ready to rock. Are you okay?
I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Australian Hunting Backcountry, and on this episode, very excited to be talking to someone across the other side of the world, in America, Drew from Tricer. Drew, how are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Good. We're doing our best with limited Wi-Fi and so forth, and there's a couple of freezes in the video here and there. So if you're listening in and things go blank for a while, just give it a second because it'll probably start up again. So, Drew, you're located in California.
Yeah, we're in San Diego. So right there, the bottom of California. It's the best part of the state, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Right there, kind of by the beach and bordering Tijuana and right there, Mexico.
Ah, okay, rightio.
Yep.
So just a hop, skip, and a jump over the border.
Yeah, we go down all the time. Yeah, it's 20 minutes from my house to go to Mexico.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, wow. And so you're the owner and creator of the Tricer products.
Yeah, that's all me. Yeah, we started. I started pursuing Tricer in 2017, like with some ideas I was coming up with, some like trekking pole tripod type stuff, and just really trying to chase this, make things lighter, in the backcountry, but still functional. And in 2020, which was a great year for everyone, we started Tricer. We started Tricer, I think, in February, and then the pandemic hit in March, and it's been fun.
Wow, that was a brave step to take at that time of everything that was going on. So tell me about Drew. Who is Drew? How did you start? Because you're a hunter yourself. So
yes,
take me through Drew's story.
Oh geez, who is Drew? First and foremost, I'm a Christian. I'm a husband. I've been with my wife we've married 17 years, been together 20 years next month, high school sweethearts. So we've been together since you're 17. Mm-hmm. I have five children. Mm-hmm. My oldest is 17. My second one's 15. They both hunt. I have a 10-year-old boy. He hunts. My daughter is 12. She does not hunt, but she is the most incredible one of all my kids for sure. She definitely has my heart. Mm-hmm. And then we have a 4-year-old son, Dylan. So we have 4 biological kids and one son that we adopted because we're foster parents. So I'm heavy into foster care over here in America. Mm-hmm. And I run foster ministries, and we're foster parents. So we had our son since he was 2 days old. And after 1,307 days, he became a Miles. So that's me in a nutshell, right? A family man, and said I'm in ministries a lot. And then I do a bunch of business stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess you want to know how I got into hunting? Is that where we're going?
Yep. Take us there.
So I did not grow up in a home that hunted at all, but I grew up in the 90s, right? And I don't know if you guys had the same kind of stuff, but in the mornings before school, we'd have stuff like Jim Shockey on, all these canned hunts where they'd go out there and have the cheesy music, and then they'd get 50 different kill shots, and they sit over a feeder and shoot deer. Mm-hmm. I would watch that every morning. I'd watch hunting on the Outdoor Channel, watch Bill Dance fishing, and I wanted to hunt so bad. So I went and got my own hunting license when I was 12. And I found one of my father's friends to take me to start going bird hunting. So he got me into bird hunting at like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
You guys hunt mourning dove down there?
Not really, no.
So we have mourning dove. So I started going dove hunting, quail hunting, pheasant hunting. And I did that up until probably high school. and then started doing things that high school boys do in high school and went away from hunting for a while. Got married and got back into bird hunting. I probably bird hunted for another 5 years until I was about maybe 25, 28. And then I went on my first big game hunt. I always wanted to do it. I just didn't know how, right? Like I don't know how, getting into hunting is such a scary thing for people.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to, I just never had, didn't know where to start. So I ended up going with one of my friends on a guided hog hunt. And man, this is probably, I think this is 2015. I put the crosshairs on that pig and killed that pig, and it just ruined my life. Like I never want to pick up a shotgun again and go hunt birds ever again.
Yeah.
All I want to do is find big game and go big game hunting. So that kind of set me on the journey, right? So I've just once I killed that pig, I've killed some deer since then. I've killed some elk since then. I've killed some sheep. I just find a way to get out and get it done, right? By no means do I consider myself a great hunter. I definitely find a way to kill something every year or most years. But I am too dumb to quit, right? And I've just got out there and I've been figuring it out every year since. And just every year I go on these hunts and I started to do it. And that just on top of the rifle, picking the crosshairs, getting out and spending, 8 days away from the internet and away from phones and Twitter and Instagram and the news is it's life changing. It's awesome. So I started doing that, and that's kind of what my passion's become now is backcountry hunting. I'm not really a fan of getting out of the truck and shooting something. I don't really like going on even guided hunts. I'm not a big fan of that unless it was something that I had to have a guide on. I like the challenge. I like getting, going to an area I've never been to before and packing in and then playing that chess match with big game animals and trying to find them in optics and then trying to put a stock on them and ultimately trying to kill them, harvest them, right? That's the whole goal, right, is to harvest an animal. So, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. You guys have got a lot more opportunity over there for certain things. Over here, all of our game species, in air quotes, are feral animals. So they're all introduced species. We don't have any native big game species like you do with the elk and deer and goats and sheep. So, but however, we don't have a tag system. So, if I wanted to go out tomorrow and shoot 20 deer, I can go and do that as long as I've got permission to hunt there or I'm in the right place. So, you kind of win some and you lose some.
Yeah, and you guys, I don't know why I'm so fascinated with this. You guys can hunt kangaroos too, yeah? Or they just changed some law where you can't or something? Or?
Well, kangaroos are a native species. So with a permit, you can shoot kangaroos. There are landowners can get a license, I think, to cull a certain number on their property, but it's not open slather with them. So any native species are the ones that are usually protected. And any feral are the ones that we're usually encouraged to hunt.
And you guys, I mean, you see kangaroos often, right? I mean, they're like normal, like our white-tailed.
Yeah,
I feel like if I saw a kangaroo, I would flip out and be like, "This is crazy."
Well, funnily enough, it depends on where you are. But we have kangaroos and wallabies, so they're similar looking, but different species apparently. But the other day, I was driving down the road. I was in an inner city suburb, and literally there was a wallaby bouncing along the footpath beside the car. Because we were near a patch of bushland, so obviously that was where he lived and got a little lost or something. But you can drive through certain parts of the country and there will be, you'll get sick of seeing kangaroos. There's that many of them. Really?
Really? Yeah, that's fascinating to me because we'd have to go to a zoo here to see one and it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody. Yeah.
There are some parts that are quite notorious for kangaroos because they don't. They're quite habitual on where they live. So when they're born into an area, that's basically where they stay. They don't move on unless there's something that's really pushing them. So there's certain parts of the country where you can drive along the highway, and it's scattered with dead bodies of kangaroos because they bounce across the road in front of trucks and cars. and just get obliterated. So yeah, it depends on where you are in the country. Yeah.
So when you guys do backcountry hunting over there, is that something you're doing in Australia, or do you have to go to like New Zealand for that stuff, or you in Australia doing that?
We do have some patches of public land. So there's in Queensland, the places I hunt in Queensland all has to be on private property because we don't have access to public land up here. But in New South Wales and Victoria and Tasmania, there are parts there that are public land that we can hunt on. Each state runs it differently. A lot like each state has their own sort of body that governs how that's managed and dictated.
Okay. Okay. And then you have the water buffalo too, yeah, over there? Or?
Yeah, yep. So there's water buffalo up in Northern Territory and some parts of Queensland. That's a lot of the hunting there is done on Aboriginal land, so you need to get the right permission. And I think a lot of the guides have sort of got a lot of that country tied up, so somebody's making money out of offering hunts up there. But yeah, if you know someone that knows someone, you can sometimes get some access.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're really blessed over here in the States is, we fought so hard for public lands and to be able to go and have these hunts that we have. And you don't realize it until you talk to someone like yourself and it's like, oh, this stuff's private. And man, like I was out hunting this morning, even though in San Diego, our success rates are horrible. It's one of the worst places to hunt for deer in America. But I'm able to go out and go hunting, in the morning on public land, just go out, park my truck and hike in and look for deer, and that's really a freedom I think we take for granted over here. And we are constantly fighting for that too, right? They're always trying to take things away and change things on us and take hunting from us. But it's weird to hear that, like, you couldn't just go out and, get a tag or go and try and find one of these water buffalo. I guess if it's on Aboriginal land, that makes more sense to me, but that's different for us for sure.
Yeah. I was over there in 2019 and I spent 6 weeks over there with a mate and we hunted in a few different states. So we had to organise tags and we went out with a guide in Montana to chase elk and deer and trying to get my head around, we had this plan to drive around and hunt in all these different states. So I had to try and get my head around the different legislation and application systems and all of that in a number of different states, and it was mind-boggling. So we ended up only selecting 3 states and just tried to concentrate on them and get what we could. But
which states?
So we hunted in Wyoming, Montana, and
Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where at in Idaho? I don't have to tell me the unit, but in Idaho, did you hunt in the Frank Church at all?
No.
Oh.
No. I can't remember where we were in Idaho, to be honest. In Wyoming, we got an over-the-counter antelope tag, and we ended up having to. The unit we had a bit of BLM on it, and a lot of it was private. And we ended up going and doing some door knocking and actually getting permission to hunt on a big block of private land over there. And I couldn't believe how friendly people were and how agreeable they were to letting us, as soon as we came on, started talking, they heard the accent, they were like, oh, come on in, you RCs. And people just couldn't be friendlier, and hunting that was a big eye-opener for us, is how accepted hunting is as part of everyday everything over there. And because over here, it depending on where you are, it can be a bit of a dirty word, and you sort of have to be careful who you let know that you do hunt and you do use firearms, because it's misunderstood more than anything. But over there, we'd walk into a bar and order a meal and a drink, and of course they'd recognise that we're from Australia, and then they'd start talking to us, and usually the first question is, oh, are you over here for the hunting? And it was just open and accepted. Even we went to Rifle in Colorado, and you'd know the restaurant there owned by one of your politicians, Lorena Bobbitt, and all the waitresses walk around with pistols strapped to their hips,
no, that's not.
all through the town. There's signs on lampposts saying "Hunters welcome" and things like that. It was just completely foreign to us.
Yeah, that's definitely not how it is in California, right? So we're the opposite. California is the liberal, just anti-gun, anti-hunting, they took away our lion hunting, they're taking away bobcat hunting. They want to take everything away. But yeah, and you go over some of these other states and it's just like, wow, there's freedom here and they enjoy it and they understand it. It's just such a silly thing too, because everyone eats meat. I'd much rather go out and harvest an animal. They don't see that though. I think part of it is, I think we've done a good job of trying to change that perspective in the industry, right? Like we're not just doing these videos now, like I was saying in the beginning of the 90s, where it was just some guy, 15 different kill shots, and then you don't see anything after that. When you go out and hunt, and you realize how hard it is to harvest an animal, and then you harvest them, then you have to cut them up and then pack them out. And I packed a bull out 8 miles. A couple seasons ago. That bull is the best tasting bull I ever had because it did that story and that misery I went through to get him out. It's just it's a beautiful thing, and people don't understand that. They just think, oh, you're just going to go out there with your automatic machine gun and just plow down animals. It's so easy. Hunting is not easy. What's easy is going to the grocery store and picking up a piece of cellophane wrapped meat that came from a plant, with 10,000 cows in it, or couple thousand pigs that's all crammed in there. It's just
that's
right. It really is a beautiful
thing. No, and people seem to feel that because they disconnect themselves from all of the nasty side of things, that they're somehow then holier than thou. That seems to be a sort of emerging attitude now that green vehicles are a great example of that. They're driving an electric vehicle, so therefore, they're actually doing the world a favour. They're healthy, they're creating a healthy environment. But they're just disconnecting themselves from the cold hard facts of how that vehicle actually came to be, and then the ongoing cost of it and charging it and all of that sort of thing. So some people do tend to stick their head in the ground and just refuse to see the reality of it, whereas, like you say, hunters are very much attached to every step along the way and every part of the process. And we don't do it because it's cheaper or it's easy. It's in fact quite the opposite. It's a lot cheaper and easier to go to the supermarket and buy your meat off the butcher there. So there's that dichotomy there going on where how could you say, suffering, I guess, for the benefit of it.
Yeah, I guess we have a saying over here. It's you can't fix stupid. It's people, they get their heads put in the sand and they're just. But I mean, you can't tell me that I don't love any of them do, right? They've never seen a wild deer in their lives. We're out there seeing them and loving them. And I want to see elk thrive, especially in America. Our animal populations are as good as they are now because we self-police and we self-regulate. We put in tax systems. We wanted to see it happen. Teddy Roosevelt in the early 1900s, we went in and they were going out and slaughtering animals like crazy. And they said, no, we're not going to be able to do this anymore. We're not going to have them. And now we have Pittman Roberts, and we tax 10% of all firearms and ammo goes to conservation. So all the conservation you're seeing here is done by hunters, but then you get these politicians that come in and start taking hunting away. It's frustrating. But no, I love animals. I love everything about them. I don't want to go out there and, like I said, I have 5 kids. I don't have them out there just slaughtering animals and laughing about it. We go out and we make ethical shots. We pack the meat out. We do the whole thing ourselves. I don't know if we process the game in our kitchen, right? We package it. And then we sit down at the dinner table and we talk. We what do we eat? No, we're eating Drew's pig, or we're eating Isaac's sheep, or we're eating Drew's antelope. My kids kill everything. I'm just a guide now. Taking my kids out, I feel like, every time. We're eating Grandpa's elk, and we get to tell those stories, right? Sit around and talk about that. There's something primal about that we're losing as a world that was very common 100 years ago. This is like a new experiment, this whole not catching meat or shooting animals and eating animals, right? I mean, it was very common.
Mm.
So there's something about, sitting down with your boys and going on a hunt or with some men, or like if me and you went into a deer camp together, or we would come out of that bonded together, right?
Yep.
There's something manly about that we were created by God to do. We were created to hunt, right? We're carnivores.
Yeah.
And that's why it's something beautiful about it. People just don't get it. They
Yeah.
don't understand it. They'd rather just sip their lattes and, wear their hipster clothes and judge us. And it's like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
I bet you if you put a rifle in your hands and put a deer in your crosshairs, once you pulled that trigger, you'd understand,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, and I think obviously some people are just like, I look at my son, and you probably saw this in your children too. I introduced I've got 3 children. I introduced them all to shooting and then into hunting, and we started off with small game and so forth. And one of my children absolutely did not want anything to do with it. She shot a rabbit, and then after that was it. Didn't want any more. And that was fine. I accepted that, and she was happy to just shoot, do a bit of plinking with a 22 and so forth. Another child, she wanted to continue hunting small game, but didn't think she could do anything bigger. Didn't think she could actually pull the trigger on a deer, and that was fine. No problem with that whatsoever. And my son, he took to it like a duck to water. He just. And now, he's about to turn 14, and now he wants to come backpack hunting with me, and just has just really fallen into it. So I think there's obviously something inside of us that some people have and some people just don't. And those that don't, this is the difference between hunters and non-hunters, is that the hunters are willing to accept those people that don't want to hunt. That doesn't affect us. If you go over there, you want to live your life in the way that you do, that's fine. That doesn't affect us whatsoever. And we won't judge you for that. But from their side, they're more than happy to judge us for what we're doing because they don't agree with it. And so there's not a two-way street here of an understanding. It's very much, we need to stop what you're doing because we don't agree with it.
Yeah, it's weird times, and I've made it a point with Tricer to almost not care anymore, right? Like there's been this big, political correctness thing over here in the States for the last, 20 years, and everyone's going woke. And anymore with Tricer now, we're a hunting company, and we say that, we tell people that, we tell them, hey, when you get my stuff, I want you to go out there and I want you to use it to find animals, to harvest animals, and I think for so long we've been quiet, trying to be, we just won't say anything, and we've given them so much leverage on us, right? And I think people are really responding well to that with the Tricer, like, hey, we're a hunting company,
yep,
right? Like we look at we're so many tripod companies out there, photography tripod companies, and everyone's using them for hunting.
Yep.
Put Grip and Grin on their page or talk about hunting,
yep.
Even though they put their stuff into all the sporting goods stores, all the hunting stores. They would never in a million years support hunting.
Yep.
Right. And it's sad. And, I think now we're at a place right now where it's being well received by people just to stand up for what we believe in, and talk about it. And I have so many friends who don't hunt. Right. And I don't judge them. I even when I hunt, we have political parties over here. Some of my best hunting partners are totally different politically than me. Right. But we still hunt together and we bond together. We have a great time together. Right. Because I don't care. All I can care about is if you're not going to quit on a hunt on me, when it starts freaking raining and pouring and the wind's going 40 miles per hour, you stay out. I don't care what your political views are because we're hunting together. Right. That's what's beautiful about hunting.
Yep.
And it's just, I hate people trying to come into what I love and take it away from me because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Right. Or it makes them feel uncomfortable from their house in the city, right? And they're telling me what I'm doing is wrong, and it's not true. It's something I love, and it's not wrong. We've been doing it since the beginning of time. We've been hunting and doing these things,
Yep. Certainly, being out in the bush with someone on a hunting trip is a great way to find out more about that person and either bond with them, and it seems to be a lifelong bond, or recognize that you don't actually mesh well with that person, and you may never want to see them again.
Yeah, talk about with your son too. So like my boys, I've been dragging them out since they were little, But now they're almost grown men, 15 and 17, and there's powerlifting, different weights. So they backpack and talk about a bonding experience with your kid, getting them in the truck and, driving an hour with them this morning at 4 a.m. and just getting to talk about whatever, talk about God, talk about girls, talk about what are you thinking? What's going through your head right now? Then be out there with them hunting and sitting there and we're glassing and enduring things together. That really brings you together. I mean, nothing bonds you more than a really crappy hunt where you got soaking wet and you had to carry an animal, back or, go through something.
Yeah.
That just brings you together. Or when you spend a day hunt and on day 6, you finally get it done. I mean, that is a bond experience that you can't get anywhere else. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you
cut out.
Yeah, you cut out for about 20 seconds there. Look, and coming back to the father-son thing as well, and I don't want to exclude any other relationships, father-daughter and that sort of thing, but in particular, father and that father.
Something good. Yeah, I can see, I can hear you. There you go.
All right.
Okay, camera's off now. You good?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I got full bars over my father-in-law's house. He only buys the expensive stuff. So
sometimes
I got good Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, sometimes running the camera and so forth tends to decrease the quality. Yes. So what I was saying before was about the father and son bonding that you're referring to, and I don't want to discount any other relationships. Father-daughter or anything like that. But in terms of the channel of communication between a father and son, the importance of that, because as men, we're not great communicators. We're not good at sharing emotions. We're not good about talking about problems. So to be able to build that relationship with your son from a very young age and encourage an open channel of communication and give them assurance that anything they do say will be said in a safe space and that sort of thing and can be dealt with, I think is really important, particularly in this day and age, even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I don't want to start talking about Jordan Peterson or anything like that, but just from a mental health point of view, young men are really suffering in the mental health space at the moment. So anything we can do from an early age to try and assist, I think it needs to be done. And hunting's a very big platform for us to launch that from.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go down the rabbit hole, but I mean, the world is trying to neuter our sons and just take away masculinity. They're telling them these thoughts and feelings they have to be masculine are wrong. You need to be feminine, and that's the issue, right? They're men. They like to have fun. They like to do dumb things. They like to hunt. They are men. I mean, you try to turn men into women, that's when you end up with all these problems, right? The world's upside down in so many places right now. But with my boys, again, I don't play into that stuff. We homeschool our kids. We keep them out of the public school system here in California.
Yeah.
But I want them to be men. I want them to be tough. I tell them, you need to be strong. You need to be a man. You need to, and now telling somebody man up is a bad thing, and that shouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Man up. We're going to do something that really is really hard right now. Yeah. And it's part of being a man, right? Because then when you get into real world and you get a job or, there's going to be days that are really hard. And if you just quit every single time, you're going to be a failure. And I think that's one of those things that hunting really helps with too, is being out there and learning those things, learning to do hard things, learning to endure, be uncomfortable or be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like we want our kids out there doing these things that is not sitting on the couch or laying in their bed playing video games or looking at social media. We want them out there, getting dirty and fighting animals, and that's important. And I have no apologies for that. I apologize to no one that I'm raising men. And I want them to be men, and I want them to be leaders, and I want them to be strong. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I have a daughter, and she is the apple of my eye, and I love her to death. And I take her on dates, and if she wanted to hunt, I would take. She shoots a bow, but she doesn't want to hunt. I'm not saying that I treat her differently, but I'm saying that I want my sons to be men, and that's the bottom line. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we should live in a time right now where apparently it's almost like you're a bigot if you said that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's just reality. I want something.
Yeah, no, we're being asked to suppress those natural emotions and desires and so forth nowadays. And the beauty about hunting too is that there's no participation trophy. You either get the animal or you don't. So
Yeah, I think that's what I love about hunting most is that it's one of these things where really it's all on you, right? It's all on you it's a sequence of decisions you have to make. Right? You're deciding where am I going to go? Where am I going to sit today? And then you got to find an animal. Then you got to put a play together on how you're going to get that animal. And then so many times it just doesn't work out, right? I don't know what your success rates are over here, but our success rates are a good success rate would be 25% over here on a tag, right? That means 3 out of 4 guys aren't getting an animal, right? In San Diego where I live, the archery success rate is 2%. That's what I'm archery hunting this morning. But it's all on me. That's a great thing. I don't have to rely on anybody else to do it. It's all on me trying to find a deer and get it done. And it's just, there's something so challenging about that. It's just so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. I do remember hearing somebody say, I think it was in Colorado, that the success rate on elk for tags, archery tags, was less than 10%.
Oh, I'm sure, because they sell so many dang tags over there. That's all kind of changing now too. There's just so many people hunting after COVID. They're pulling it back. But yeah, no, it's hard. What is it? The top 10% of guys kill 90% of the animals, right?
Yep.
And, really, that's kind of where we got into the backcountry stuff and going deeper. It's just learning that just driving around in your truck looking for an animal, you might get successful every 3 to 4 years, 5 years. But if you are willing to go farther than anybody else, go a few canyons over, a few miles in, your chance of success go up a lot, And then you got to bring that animal out of there, which is miserable, But yeah, it's hunting's hard, and it's on you to get it done. You can't. I can't say, hey Tobias, go shoot that elk for me, and then I'll go buy it. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you say, it's something that just gets inside you. Like when you pulled that trigger on that hog, something just woke up inside you, and then it's with you for life, and it just seems to keep growing. It's just a fire that just keeps growing the more you feed it. So, Tricer then, obviously, products very much designed for the backcountry hunter, and that's where my passion lies as well, and obviously that's the the ethos of the podcast, and what I'm gearing it towards is looking at experiences and equipment and knowledge that can help everyone do better in the backcountry. And part of that is decreasing the weight that we're carrying, because the less we've got to carry, the less pain there is, and then potentially the more we can carry out. So that seems to be the I guess the birth for you for Tricer.
Yeah, definitely. It's a combo, right? It's a birth of, I want to have something that's ultra light, but I also want to be stable. And that's what I've kind of knocked out of the park this last year with these new tripods, the 80, the BC, and then the Panhead, the LP. We've created something that is super light, right? Like our Panhead weighs 4.5 ounces, but it has the stability of the 16 ounce, like BA5 Panheads people have been running for years.
Yeah.
Right, you can put a big 85 millimeter spotter on there and it'll handle it, no problem. So yeah, there's a balance there, right? A lot of times we want to go ultra light. I want the skinniest, smallest tripod, but if you're on a hunt and the winds are, 20 miles per hour, that tripod's gonna be shaking everywhere. You're not going to find animals.
Yeah.
So that's really what I've been chasing with Tricer, trying to find this balance of ultra light and ultra stable. And I think we've really knocked it out of the park. I mean, right now, I would wager to say when it comes to hunting tripods in the States, we are by far the biggest seller right now. I mean, people are just buying them. I can't keep them in stock. Those Panheads are just it's unreal.
Yeah.
I brought 500 in 2 weeks ago. They're already gone.
All right.
So everybody ordering this weekend's gonna be waiting a little bit for them. It's just we've gone through thousands of those things this year because they just work. It's actually something we've been so focused on using. Not focused on, I guess. People have been using photography gear for years.
Yeah.
It's the only thing available, right? And then with Tricer, we said, well, we're gonna just build stuff made for hunters, not photographers. And photographers can use it, sure, but it's built for hunters. And we took things out that were in the photography world and changed it and made it better, so people can hunt with it and have a good opportunity, a good experience. We've got the new tripods, the 80 and the BC are inverted legs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at a tripod, a standard tripod, when you want to go ultra light, you go skinny legs, right? So a standard tripod goes with the legs going down. So you have the fat leg on the top, and then it gets skinnier as it goes all the way to the ground, right? And you get down to like a 3/8 leg at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. And
there's not a lot of strength there. You push on it, it's going to flex on you. And any of that flex and movements where you're going to get, shaking your optics, you're not going to find things. So we made the 80 and the BC with inverted legs, meaning the top leg is 7/8 of an inch, which is still fatter than most tripods. And then the next leg going down is 1 inch, and the leg after that is 1.125 inches. So we have these tripods now where it just makes sense to have the fattest leg on the ground, not the skinniest leg. Mm-hmm. And they are just strong as can be. So our BC tripod, which is our our sitting tripod, yep, weighs 27 ounces. But I mean, it's rated for 26 pounds. You could push, it's rock solid. And then our 80, which is our standing model, it's the same exact design, just a little bit longer legs, longer center column. It weighs only 33 ounces, but it's, you could put a 20-pound rifle on and have no problems.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's this balance, trying to find ultra light and ultra stable. There's a lot of guys going out right now. There's this big push in the industry. They're just taking, everyone's just rebranding all these photography tripods and bringing them to the States and putting their company name on them. But I don't want to call them garbage, but they're just not hunting tripods. They're photo tripods. And we've just taken that and turned it upside down literally and focused on making something better. And we definitely built a better mousetrap with Tricer, with the new tripods, the pan heads, the bino adapter. And we've got some just really cool stuff coming out later on this year and in the spring. Just some neat stuff's going to blow people's minds. Yeah. Built for hunters.
Yep. Just because we're obviously running a different system to you guys, I'll just highlight, I've just done a quick Google search. 27 ounces is about 750 grams and 33 ounces is about 935 grams. So both of those weights you gave us then for those tripods are under a kilo, well under a kilo for the BC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're still stable, right? That's the biggest thing is I could get that light with a different style tripod, but it wouldn't be stable. Mm. So there's this balance where you want to find, you don't want to always be, it's like, I guess putting your perspective, like you're going on a hunt and you want to go ultra light. So you bring a tarp. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to be in bad weather, it's, even though you're ultra light, it's probably not the best system for that, right?
Yeah.
So you got to try and find the balance of what's going to work best. You don't want to always just be the lightest if it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So if you can go find a 19-ounce tripod, but it's the legs are a 1/4 inch diameter, work for your spotting scope, have flex to it, and you don't want that. You want to have something that's stable. Stability is king, right? Stability is king when you're glassing, and I mean that's what I do, right? I glass. So I spend, on average, if I'm hunting coos deer, I'll be glassing 10 hours a day over here. I live right by Arizona, so I mean I just glass. So I want to make sure that I am not only ultra light getting in there, but when I start glassing, incredibly stable. It's like, because at the end of the day, what matters is me finding that animal most, right? That's what we're doing it for.
And particularly coos deer, because they're quite a small animal, and even not just with coos deer, but with a lot of deer, you're not looking for a whole animal. You're looking for a little bit of movement or part of an animal. Whether it's an antler sticking up through some bushes or some tall grass, or an ear flickering, or the white spot on their bum or something like that. So having that stability is really important in that regard, because you're not looking for a big brown or grey object standing out in something and then assessing their antlers. You've got to find the animal first.
Yeah, I just put a video on my YouTube yesterday, like 10 steps to glassing, and that's one of them. Is picking the animals and picking it apart.
Mm.
And when I tell people when you're glassing, you're not looking for a deer.
Mm.
You're looking for something that doesn't fit in the picture, right? So you're looking at a bush. What doesn't fit in there? Because you're not going to see the whole deer. You might see an ear flick.
Mm.
You might see a little tail flick, a little bit of a brow tine, and you just got to sit there and look at that. Especially with Coues deer, those are by far my favorite deer to hunt. I mean, they are 90 pounds. They call them the gray ghost for a reason.
Yep.
And those, I swear to you, those deer disappear. I mean, you'll see one go into a bush. I can't tell you how many times I've blown stalks on them because I'm like, they had to have left.
Mm.
And we wait on them for 3 hours, and then you get impatient. All of a sudden, the deer busts and leaves.
Yep.
And it's just like you can see them lay down, and then you can't see them anymore, right? So when you're trying to find those things, you've got to be super stable, big glass, right? I run 15s. That's kind of my go-to glass is the 15s power Swarovskis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big. I have spotters too, but on like for all day glassing, I'm running the 15s on there, looking for deer, looking for Coues. And then if I find something, then I'll throw a spotter on to confirm, right?
Yep.
But I never use a spotter as my glassing, my all-the-time glassing thing. It's just the binos are just so nice.
Yeah.
Hope that makes sense.
Yep. Everything's a compromise too with backcountry hunting. So weight, comfort, even flavour, depending on the food and so forth, and safety as well, depending on the item. So yeah, what you're coming back to what you're saying before about the balance between stability and weight. You can go and buy a very large video tripod, and it's going to be very heavy, but it's going to be incredibly stable, and you will probably get better quality viewing off that tripod. But the compromise is the extra weight. So there's obviously a point of diminishing return with the weight and stability, and like you say, some of those the lightweight camera tripods, there's no way they're going to be as stable when you're trying to sit out in the open with a large spotting scope on and a bit of wind and all of those sort of factors coming into play, and you yourself, you're sitting there in the cold trying to stay warm and so forth. So yeah, anything I guess that can be done to find that particular point where you're going to get a quality product that's going to work for you, and you're not going to be sacrificing too much in the way of weight, is obviously where you've sort of hit the mark.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we were trying to do, right? With Tricers, we were trying to find the perfect balance, right? I think we knocked it out of the park. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. With you look at our reviews, they're through the roof. People were just going crazy. The biggest names in hunting now are running our stuff because we kind of just found that balance of ultralight but stable. Like you got to, it's important. So many guys are like, how light is it? How light is it? Light, but the more important thing is that it's stable, right? Because if you go 8 to 9 pound rifle, light rifle will go 5 pounds, 400 yards. How do you guys do that over there? You don't do yards, huh?
Sorry, mate, you broke up a bit then. Say that part again.
You guys don't do yards, right? What do you guys do over there for shooting?
We're meters.
Distance.
Yeah, meters. So 90.
You got to shoot an animal at 500 meters across the.
Yep.
Yeah. So call it 500 meters. You try and do that with a 6 pound rifle. Good luck. You save 3 pounds, but now when it comes down to the killing, you're all over the place. So there's a balance between ultralight and something that is functional, and also a balance between ultralight and comfort, right? Like there's just, you got to pick what works for you. Everyone's kit is different, right? So I've been backpacking for so long now, and I know what I like, right? So my kit is different than your kit. I know what I need for comfort. Like I carry a pillow.
Yep.
I love having a pillow in there, There's certain things like I do TP tents, but I kind of prefer a floored tent. So it might weigh a pound more, but I know that when I'm in a floored tent and I have the vestibule, sometimes it's just a better situation. I've been in situations where my buddies were in teepees and they were out in the middle in a rainstorm at night because the teepee lifted, and I was just laying in my Hillenberg and having a great night's sleep.
Yep.
It's all a balance. You got to pick what works for you, right? Like same thing when it comes to food, right? Do you want to go out there and go completely stoveless and just do bars and those kind of things and freeze dried stuff like that? You could do that and save some weight, right? But for me, when I'm on an 8-day hunt, I really want to come back and turn my jet boil on and eat a warm mountain house. It makes you feel comfortable. So there's certain things you got to pick, like I'm not one of these ultralight Nazis where I have to be the lightest possible, because I know that when I'm on an 8-day hunt, I want to have some comforts there as well.
Yep.
Right. And you kind of just refine your kit here and there, what you need and what you don't need, and you get it down to this really good, size and weight. I think I probably run on my kit around 30 pounds for all my stuff. That's before optics and water and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Maybe a little less, depends on where I am. 33, depends on how cold it's going to be. But I mean, I'm still ultra light, but I just make sure things are functional too, more than just being lightweight,
Yeah, and everybody's got their own personal point of tolerance for discomfort.
Yeah.
So some people are happier to spend the night under a tarp, and have to get out in the middle of the night and dig a trench around their tarp because the water's running in underneath them and that sort of thing. Whereas I'm not. So I'm like you. I've got a Hilleberg Acto, and I like that because of the shelter that it gives me, because it's security. And I know that if a bad storm comes through with a heap of wind, I'm going to be okay. Might not be the greatest sleep, that night, but at least I'm going to be relatively warm and dry still at the when the sun comes up in the morning. Yeah, but other people, they want to sleep in a teepee or under a tarp. Then that's the sacrifice that they're prepared to make for that weight saving. But
I have like a thing for tents, so I love tents. So I have the teepees, I have the tarps, and I have 2 Hillenbergers right now. I have like the Namaj. It's like a heavier one for going to Alaska and stuff like that.
Yep.
4 season. And then I think it's the Anyon. I think it's the Anyon. It's a 2-person with a vestibule, and that tent is just incredible.
Yeah, is that?
And I love.
That's I've done a lot of research on Hilleberg. I'm a big fan of them too. But the Onion, is that the one? Is a single pole, but it's 2-person.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the end, I believe. I'm hope I'm not, or maybe I have maybe it's the Namaj. I have the Namaj, and then I have to look it up. But I just love their tents. They make such great tents. And I'm trying a few more this year. I'm trying to I got their Kuyu tent to try out this year on one of my hunts, and I have a thing for tents. I like it. But yeah, there's something about the Hillenbergs. It's have those large vestibules. You can keep all your gear in there.
Yep.
You're saying you're running the Acto?
Yeah, the little one man.
Yeah, I want the one man. I want to pick that tent up, because even their one mans have space in them, right? Like my 2-person tent has space for 2 people. Where if you go buy a 2-person ultralight tent from REI or wherever they're not 2-person tents. It's a 1-person tent.
Yeah.
Maybe 2-person tent with my wife, but I don't want to be holding my buddy like that, in the tent.
Yeah. No, well, the Acto is definitely a 1-person tent. I doubt very much you would get 2 people in there comfortably, even with your wife.
Yeah.
But there's enough room still, to put a bit of gear around you, like bring your boots in at night and put your rifle in there and food and whatever else. We don't have bears over here, so we can sleep with our food in the tent. We don't have to worry about that. But the other thing as well about over here is we've got a lot of creatures out there that are more than capable of killing you. And so for me, I prefer to have the security of a tent so that I don't end up having to share my bed with a poisonous spider or a venomous, aggressive snake either.
Yeah, for sure. I bet. We have rattlesnakes over here, but we don't have, you guys have some gnarly stuff. Again, my whole experience of Australia is just watching, what was his name? Steve Irwin in the 90s. Yeah. So you guys kind of got stereotyped pretty heavy from Steve Irwin, but that's my whole experience with Australia, is just seeing that guy just bring out some wicked animals off that place.
Yeah.
Spiders and snakes. I mean, they are just crocodiles. It's pretty. You got some gnarly stuff over there for sure. We do have some lions over here, and we do have the grizzlies, but you guys definitely have a lot of stuff that wants to kill you over there. That's for sure.
Yeah, but having said that, we don't have any land-based apex predators like your mountain lions and bears. So all of our sort of really dangerous apex predators are water-based, basically. So you've got crocodiles and sharks. But like I said, there's still a lot of other things out there that certainly kill you and make you very sick. So every trip can be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. That tent that I have is the Anyan 2. So I just looked it up so I could make sure I was saying the right thing. But yeah, the Anyan.
Yeah.
That's a tent.
Yeah. And I think when I bring my son into the backpacking, I think that's the one that I was looking at getting for the two of us to share.
Yeah, I recommend the GT too, because I have the one that's not the GT, and the GT has the larger vestibule in the front, and you can just put all your gear in there. Because the one without the larger vestibule is just, I picked it up used on a backcountry site over here, but it's great for one person. It's great for two people fitting inside, but it's just hard to get all the gear in that vestibule. Those GT vestibules are just, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're freestanding. They're just great. So I recommend the GT on that for sure if you get it.
Yeah, and there's not much weight penalty either to get all that extra room too.
No, and those, they are, in perspective, they are kind of heavy, right? So like my Anyan's gonna be a lot heavier than some of these Tiger Wall tents, but I guarantee you, like I was out on a deer opening day of deer last year in San Diego. It ended up being 50-mile-per-hour winds sustained for all night, and I was dry as can be, and it was raining, and it was great. It was a little loud, but I was golden, right? You can go get the lightest tent, but you're out on a hunt and that thing rips apart on you in the middle of the night and you're soaking wet. That's life or death sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the comfort of being dry in a tent is something that I carry maybe a few more pounds than most. And I do the teepees too. I have some of the Seek Outside teepees. I'll do those on hunts, and I do like them. I like being able to cook inside of them, but they're just dirty, right? You're on the dirt, versus a floored tent. There's just something nice about it. And you guys have all the creepy crawlers over there too, I guess, like you were saying. So I don't know how much you want to be sleeping in a teepee on the ground over there.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, I've tried it before. I've tried a tarp and sharing my bed with. It's not just dangerous things. There's ants and cockroaches and bugs and all sorts of stuff over here, and just they all seem to gravitate towards your sleeping bag and so forth. So. And again,
are you in a sleeping bag? Are you in a bag or are you in a quilt?
No, I'm in a sleeping bag. I haven't. I've looked at quilts, and I haven't been able to bring myself to pull the trigger on one. Yeah, I'm not brave enough.
Yeah, I love the quilts. I've got 3 of them now. They're Enlightened Equipment is what I run, and they just make some sweet gear. I you can't tell I love gear, right? That's why I started a hunting company. I love gear, and I love backpacking, and I love tweaking on stuff and trying different things. And the quilts for me are great because I roll a lot in my sleep. Like I spin all night long. And the quilt, you could kick your leg out the side of it. You're not tied in there. Where I find myself in a sleeping bag, I kind of find myself twisting up, like a wet rag. Yeah. It's like twisted. And the quilt, you have a lot more freedom to move around.
Yeah. What I did like about the quilts was that they cinched onto your mat, and so you didn't, or you were less likely to slide off your mat in the middle of the night and end up on the cold hard ground and find a puddle of water or something that found its way into your tent. But I ended up going with a Thermarest sleeping bag.
Okay.
And it's got some straps on the back of it, so it actually attaches to your sleeping mat. And I'm a back sleeper. I don't move around much at night, so having that attached to your mat has really improved my the quality of a sleep. So I'm sticking with that at the moment. But that was one of the reasons why I was looking at the quilts, was because of those straps that they use to hold it down.
Yeah, I use Thermarest pads. They are the best by far. I run like the X-Therm. and then the yellow one as well. I don't know what that one's called, but whenever I try and switch to a different pad, it pops.
Yeah, I think
I've been
the
running
yellow are just the yellow are Neo Air, and then the grey is the X-Therm.
Yeah. So I've got a few of those for the kids, and then the X-Therm, and I've been running that X-Therm now. I don't even know how many hundreds of nights I've had on it with not one leak.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's hot though. I mean, if you're going to be out anything warmer than 50, it definitely cooks you. It has like foil in it that reflects your heat back up into you. It's a warm pad, but it's great when you're out, ideally when we're hunting over here, you guys are in Celsius, I'm sorry. We're looking to be around, 30 to 50 degrees, 20 to 40 degrees. That's a great temperature range for us over here. And, it's going to be colder at night, and might drop down into the teens. And those X-Therm pads have just been incredible for me. I love them.
Yep. What I do know about Fahrenheit is that 32 is 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So
yes,
anything under 32 is getting really cold, and certainly down. And it's about 1.8. I think roughly the conversion is about 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to 1 degree Celsius. So
okay, are you guys? I mean, do you guys have snow over there?
We do in some parts of the country. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely down in Victoria, where we have the sort of largest opportunity and parcels of public land. That definitely gets that's where our snowfields are, and the highest sort of part of Australia is down that way. So that's where we. But having said that, it's not unheard of for it to snow elsewhere, but certainly nothing like you guys had. Like I know when I was in Montana, we were there in October and November, and I was in Montana, and we were post-holing through snow that was almost up to our waist.
Wow!
And that was just to get to the glassing knob that we wanted to get to that day. But one of the guides there,
for sure.
Yeah, one of the guides there, we were talking about going to this other place, and they were talking about this snowdrift. And he said, yeah, we can't ride up there because you'll lose your horse. And it just didn't compute with me. I said to him, what do you mean you lose your horse? And he said, the horse will fall into the snow and we won't be able to get it out.
Oh, wow.
I said, how deep is this snow? And he said, oh, well, most of the time it's about 15 foot deep, but at the moment we've had a lot of snow, and it could be anywhere up to 30 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And this year was worse. This year we've had one of the worst kill-offs we've had in like 100 years.
Yeah, I've heard the
snow's been horrible.
Yeah, heard the mule deer suffered with winter die-off this year quite badly.
Yeah, mule deer, antelope. I mean, I was supposed to draw a tag over in Colorado, and it was 100% draw odds, and I didn't get the tag because they just cut the tags.
Yeah,
because they're just cutting the hunts. It's mule deer are going to be. And who's to say we're not going to have another winter just like it, a few years in a row. It could happen again. So that's a hard thing, is hopefully it doesn't happen again. If we get 2 or 3 of those strung together, mule deer are going to be really hurting for a while. Some units had 100% mortality or something. It was devastating, especially in Wyoming.
But, you guys have got, like I said, a very different system where you each state employs their own wildlife biologists, and they survey the herd, and they take things like that into account. So it really is, trying to be a very sustainable system for the long term.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing too, is trying to navigate all these different states. Like you said, I apply in, I think 8 or 9 states every year, and every one of them is a little bit different. Everyone manages it differently. Every unit's managed. Some units are managed for trophy potential, but some units are managed for opportunity. It's just every state is different, and some of these states do really well, and some of these states like California do terrible. At managing game. Where I live in San Diego, we're not allowed to kill lions, so there's just abundant lions. They give out 3,000 tags for San Diego County, which is not a big area, and they have a month-long season during the rut. They don't give the deer a chance to grow or get bigger. We don't do any kind of management with water. But if you go somewhere like Arizona, it's very well managed, right? They're growing some of the biggest deer in the world.
Yeah.
They're also putting in artificial water and doing things to help those deer, and they manage them like a resource. Where California kind of has this hands-off approach, like, we want things to go back the way it was. Well, the problem is it's never going to go back to the way it
No,
was,
no,
right? I
that's
mean,
right.
we've built houses everywhere, and they're just idiots.
Mm.
But yeah, some of these states manage really well, and some of these states don't over here.
Well, yeah, we've got issues over here, and you may have heard of this in New Zealand years ago. Because they are all feral animals, the government then has a responsibility, or they feel they have a responsibility to um, essentially, I guess, wipe them off the face of the countryside. So we have helicopter culls that go on in the national park, and they did something similar years ago with the tar in New Zealand, where they had a particular politician at that time that decided that they were going to remove all the tar from the wilderness of New Zealand. So yeah, our government seems to sort of not be ready to accept that the animals are a resource and that they are something that we could all benefit from them being managed better rather than taking a zero tolerance approach.
Yeah, they were actually flying over and just shooting them and leaving them, weren't they?
Oh yeah, yep.
From helicopter.
That's all they do. There's no meat recovery. There's nothing. It's just fly
That's
over,
horrible.
shoot them, and in some areas they'll aerial drop poison as well. So, obviously the problem with poison is it's broad spectrum, so it doesn't just target the
Yeah,
species that they're after.
yeah, yeah. It's I don't know, weird times. But
Mm.
yeah, we deal with that here, right, with the lions, right? So the government said, they always pick these animals in the 90s, right after Lion King came out. They put a vote in to ban lion hunting in California. So they banned lion hunting. We were killing around 400 lions a year. Hunters were.
Yep.
And now the government kills around 400 lions a year.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
rather than using hunters to manage the resource, the government's doing the same thing, but no one knows about it, right? No one knows that we're shooting lions. They
Yeah.
just turn a blind eye to it over here, but we're still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hunters. They should be using hunters to manage these resources and harvest animals.
Mm.
It's such a better method than. And for me, I don't know what government's like over there, but for me, it's like the least amount of government, the better.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Every time they get involved, they find a way to screw it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah. Nobody
Look at
ever
COVID.
said. Yeah. Nobody ever said govern me harder.
No, no. But they want more and more power, right? I don't think it matters what country you're in or what political system you're in. These guys just want more and more power. They feel like they need to make up rules just to make themselves feel good about themselves.
Yeah. On today's Friends of the Podcast segment, I'd like to welcome a small family business, Jeff and Kath Raymond from Down Under Outdoors. Jeff, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure, thank you.
Now, Jeff, I did meet you some months ago and your wife at the Wild Deer Expo down in Victoria, and had a bit of a chat to you then and a look at some of the products you were selling. And essentially there's really 4 products that we're sort of interested in that would be, you're a hunter yourself, so obviously you've picked these products because you found that there was a need for them in the market.
Yes, that's right. We all the products are things that we knew our need well and designed what we believe to be wonderfully suitable for that. And that's sort of where we started, and we've grown into some other products as well, but these ones are specifically related to the hunting area.
Yeah. So being a hunter yourself, obviously you recognise the importance of camouflage and concealment. So the first products I guess we'll get you to talk about are the face mask, the mesh and the fleece face mask.
Yes, I've been hunting sambar for about 40 years, mostly stalking originally. In later years, we've been doing a lot of sit and wait, particularly with my wife who's taken up hunting late in life. She's done extremely well, and so she regularly comes with me, but it suits her a lot better to do the sit and wait technique because of a bit of arthritis in her knees. And so I've sort of been doing that, and we also do quite a lot of deer culling as well for different farm owners, helping them out, and also some government property as well.
Yep.
And in all those scenarios with the sit and wait or the stalking, personally, I've found it extremely helpful to have camouflage concealment, not only in my clothing, but on my face and my hands. And you've only got to look at a hunter in the bush and see how much their face can stand out.
Yep.
And so that's an area we've chosen to offer a product. Our mesh one has been designed so that you virtually don't know you're wearing it. So you can wear it all day with maximum comfort. It's quite short, but like we've tried to keep the length so it gives you the concealment, but not have it long and dangling and in the way. If it's quite windy, it will blow around a little bit on your face, but it doesn't block your view. It just sort of is just flopping around in the breeze.
Yep.
Below your eyes. It's designed so that you can wear whatever your favorite cap is or hat on top. So it's just got a comfortable headband principle with Velcro with a large adjustment to suit a big range in head sizes up to super big. It'll still fit, and it'll fit kids as well. So it's a pretty big range. And it's got a comfortable wire that you can mold to whatever style you want around your eyes. Some people want sort of like a big opening and have it hanging out away from the face. Others keep it nice and snug so it's only your eyes that you can see. You can also wear glasses with it. You just sort of mold the wire so it's away from your temples a bit so that you can fit your glasses in without them causing any interference.
Yep. That's something that's relevant for me because unfortunately my eyes have deteriorated over the years, so I'm forced to wear glasses now.
Yes, it is. The biggest question always with glasses is, does it make your glasses fog up? In some situations, your glasses are going to fog up anyway, and having the mask probably contributes a little bit to that. But we've found the mesh mask in particular, because it's so easy to breathe through and it's so light, that it doesn't seem to cause any extra issues there. We also have the fleece mask, which is a little bit more prone to fogging with glasses because of your body heat from underneath. And when I've been using that, and I wear glasses as well, in some situations I wear glasses, and in those situations I just actually pull the mask under my nose, because I can have the wire bent under my nose instead of on the bridge of my nose, and with it under my nose I don't have any fogging from it at all, because my air's breathing out. But we do have on the fleece ones, we do have where your mouth goes, there is a mesh to enable breathing through it more easily. And if you're not wearing glasses, then, which is probably the majority of people hunting aren't, especially lots of younger people. So there's a mouthpiece or a hole which is covered in mesh, so you can breathe through it very comfortably. And over the ears on the fleece one, we've also got a large mesh area so that your hearing's not disadvantaged in any way whatsoever. From my perspective, if I can't hear, then I feel terribly disadvantaged, and I would never wear something without having holes cut out. But in this case, it's done intentionally from the start to maximise still being able to hear, still being able to see, but to have an amazing difference in warmth. Sometimes when you're hunting, rather than have a big warm jacket in your backpack, which takes up a whole lot of room and adds a whole lot of weight, just by having the fleece mask just screwed up and thrown in the bottom of your bag, it really makes a massive difference. If you're sitting there and that wind's freezing cold, you just put it on and you feel incredibly snug, even without changing any of your other gear. So it really adds a lot of warmth, but it is for when it's cold. It's not something you'd use stalking in mild weather. It'd be ridiculously too hot. It's intentionally designed for that very, very cold weather stalking, or just those cold nights when you sit and wait and you're not moving, and so you really do get chilled.
Yep, yep. No, I can see that on the pictures on your website there, the patch over the ear, that's always an issue when you're trying to stay warm and you pull a beanie down over your ears or something like that, then you like you said, you lose that, or your hearing is significantly disadvantaged sometimes by having that covered.
Yes, well, I'll tend to use in those cold situations, I'll actually usually have a cap, and then I'll put a beanie on top of the cap. But I keep the beanie above my ears to be able to make sure I can hear. And both the mesh one and the fleece one come in two different colours. One's called digital camo, which is a bit more of a greener to it, but mottled different greens and different colours through it. And the other one's called birch tree camo, and it's more like a real tree type of pattern, where it's actual pictures of leaves and branches and sticks, and it's very much, again, a broken up, a disruptive pattern material, but more natural looking and more in the browner tones, browns and greys.
Yeah, okay, they look great. All right, and the next thing that I've got to look at as well is the silicon rubber rifle scope covers and sunshade.
Yeah, well, that's something sort of where, our hunting interest, or selling a product specifically for hunting, this was our first, and it's developed over, like, I guess for more than 20, 25 years of stalking. I improvised and made some myself out of bicycle tube, and I know I'm not the only person in Australia or New Zealand who's done that. The problem is that the tube bends in different ways, and you got to tape it on, and you've got to get it exactly right. But then if you want to pull it off to put in your gun case or something, it can be a pain. So eventually, when we started making or looking into products to sell, I improved my design, and we had some molds made up, and we're getting them manufactured now in 3 different sizes, and they're just selling them individually. And so the simplest way to think of it is a little veranda on both the front and the back of your rifle, which is made out of silicon rubber, and we actually offer a lifetime warranty on them. That's how confident we are in the quality of the material. And so if someone has one tear, or gets damaged somehow, they've just got to contact us and we'll send them another one. And they're extremely durable, and the idea is that their greatest use, from my perspective, has always been when you're hunting in the rain. And as a sambar stalker, I'd always carry my rifle in the ready position, and so it's held roughly level. And as long as it's held roughly level and you've got the scope covers on, you can hunt in significantly, moderately heavy rain, and your optics stay clear the whole time. And so it means that when you're stalking through the bush and a 30-inch stag jumps up 30 meters in front of you and is getting out of there fast, and you've got like 2 or 3 seconds to get that shot off, then you can do it without any concern that you're going to have water mucking up your scope cover. And I've learned that the hard way from before I went to this design. I tried scope caps, and the deer jumps up and you don't have time to flick any scope caps, or some of them leak a lot anyway. Then I've just had issues where I've gone to shoot a deer with not much notice, and you've got too much water on your glass, and it's just difficult to place a good shot, so you miss out. And so this, even though that was the main purpose I invented it for, and we actually have a patent on it in the US, because we sell thousands of them in the US. Most of the buyers actually buying them as a sunshade, because they're a very low cost sunshade that's super durable, doesn't add weight to the front of your scope, and you can easily shift its position depending on where the sun is. You can literally almost pull it halfway over the objective lens, and yet you still get a full clear view as you look through. It's hard to explain why that happens, but you can totally block the sun from getting on that glass objective lens. Yeah. So that's been our biggest use for it in America, even though that wasn't what its original intention was.
Yep.
And I think a lot of Americans just don't like hunting in the rain. So maybe there's a lot of areas that don't have rain as much as our Victorian Alps do.
Mm. So you've got the small one, I take it, goes on the
eyepiece.
The eyepiece, that's the word I was looking for, thank you. Yep, the eyepiece end. And then the other sizes are obviously compatible with the different size objective lenses.
Yes. On our listing and selling them, it has what sizes they fit, and so the small fits most of the eyepiece ends. Occasionally, some of the European brands may have an eyepiece that needs a medium, but if you try and put a medium on and you're outside the size range, it's too loose, and that's no good because you want them quite snug so you can walk around the bush all day without them flicking off. So you want them quite tight, and that's the sizes allow for that. And then your 40mm objective lens scopes, they use the medium, and then your 55mm objective lens scopes use the large. So they've got a fair bit of flexibility in the range. The only thing we don't cater for is if someone's got low power scopes. That's where it's only like the 25mm tube at the front. We don't have enough demand for the cost involved in setting up a new mold for that at this stage anyway. And where some people have still wanted it, all they do is they buy a small and they just cut the bottom out of it and then put a cable tie or some electrical tape around it, and it still functions perfectly well. It just doesn't look as neat as the other ones. But we find once you put it on your rifle, there's never a reason to take it off. So it just stays on for every hunt, and you never have to look for them or grab them. You just lift your rifle up and your optics will be clear as long as you've been holding it roughly level while it's raining.
Yeah, great. All right, and the last thing we wanted to talk about quickly, and I realise it's not really a hunting product, but it's probably quite relevant for people like hunters who do spend a lot of time in the bush camping and so forth anyway, is going to be the waterproof blankets.
Yeah, so with these it's a polyester on one side, which is waterproof, and it also has a waterproof polyurethane between the two layers of fabric. And on the inside, it's a comfortable polar fleece. We've actually gone for a fairly heavy weight at 350 grams a square metre. So it actually can give you a bit of warmth, and also it's got a bit more comfort. So you can use it when you're camping. Some people use them over top of their sleeping bags to stop the condensation wetting any of their sleeping gear because the outer cover protects it. Some people use them just sitting on the ground like a picnic blanket where no moisture comes up through the blanket, so they can sit on the nice polar fleece side. And even just sitting around the campfire at night, you can wrap them around you, but they're big enough you can wrap a blanket around two people. So they're very much a multi-purpose, as many ideas as you can think of they can be used for. And they just roll up like I guess they're like a small sleeping bag, but they certainly aren't designed to replace a good down sleeping bag or something like that. They're more a multi-use blanket or even as an emergency blanket in the back of your ute, if you break down somewhere, to have something you can get out and wrap around yourself in the ute to keep you nice and warm. So we've found it's been very, very popular. We sell them in the US, and in that style of blanket, we're the highest seller in America and have been for a couple of years now.
Okay, yeah. Great stuff. All right. So, Jeff, what's the best way for people to go and look at the products and then to purchase them once they've made that choice?
The main way we sell them is through Amazon in Australia, for the Australian market. And the simplest way is just go onto Amazon, but make sure it's amazon.com.au, the AU bit, or you'll be looking at the American site.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just typed in the search bar under all categories, if you just typed in the 3 words down under outdoors, then it'll show you the range of products we sell. And some of them aren't relevant to hunting or camping, but the ones that I mentioned aren't hard to find. We've only got, a dozen or more products there. So they're easy to find, and then you can click on the links. There's videos that show them much more clearly. Or alternatively, if you just want to have a look on our website, it shows all the products and has links to purchase through Amazon. And when you buy them through Amazon, as long as you spend more than $25, postage is free. So that's a pretty good deal. And that's anywhere in Australia. And Amazon are incredibly quick at sending things out. Our camping blanket also has a lifetime warranty as well.
Yep.
And we've been selling them for 7 years now altogether in America, and sell about 20,000 a year. So that's been very helpful for us.
And that the website that for people to go and look there?
Yes, if they just put in our website's just in all one word, Down Under Outdoors, and then just .net.
Okay, great.
So it's just our name plus .net, on our brand name plus .net on the end, and that will get them there. And they can contact me via email. And if someone doesn't want to go through Amazon but just wants to purchase directly from me, that's not a problem at all. It's the same price, but depending on how much we're talking, I'd probably have to charge something for the postage. So that's the advantage of going through Amazon.
Okay. Yep.
But, we can just talk one-on-one on that and help people out where we can there.
Yep. Okay. All right, Jeff. Great. Thanks very much for your time and for filling us in about those products.
No worries at all. Nice to talk to you.
Well, we're traveling down rabbit holes again, but
that's fine.
Coming back to the panhead then as well. Now, okay. I contacted you, I think, not long after they first came out, back towards the start of the year, or might have even been before then. But, at that stage, I was interested in getting the Tricer LP panhead because I wanted to lighten up my system a little bit. I was using a video panhead at the time and not the lightest bit of kit. And unfortunately, you weren't able to sell to me directly, so I had to go through the Go Hunt fellas over there, and ended up getting one. So I've been running that for a little while now. Used it on a couple of hunts, more than a couple of hunts actually, but and yeah, really enjoying it. I was very surprised at the weight of it and how compact it is, and yet still having the smoothness that I was seeing in a video panhead. But in a package that was probably a quarter the size, maybe something like that. Yeah. So that was the first sort of, I guess, exposure for me to Tricer, and I can't even remember how I came across you. Probably just through Instagram feed or something. But that was my introduction to you and your products. How did that come about?
Well, for one, I would be lying to you if I told you I knew it was going to turn out as good as it did, because it really did turn out to be the best hunting panhead on the market. It turned out incredible. How it came about is I've been building these ultralight tripods, and one of my buddies, his name's Lung Popper on all the forums. We call him LP. Yeah. Said, I bet you can't make a 6-ounce panhead. And I said, well, hold my beer. I'll figure it out. And so So I created I created that panhead. And I named it after him just out of spite.
Yeah.
I named it the LP, the lung popper. He's one of my best hunting partners. So that's when people ask what it means lung popper.
Right.
And that's what came about is he challenged me to it and said something about it. And I was like, man, I could probably figure that out. And I just started going and prototyping. And it blows my socks off every time I use it. It's just such an incredible head. I use a lot of heads, and a lot of times you just can't feather them in. And that's one of the biggest things is you go ultralight, but the thing's flopping everywhere. You can go buy a ball head. That's not good for glassing. You want something that's smooth left to right and up and down. A lot of times you go lighter, the thing will start flopping around on you. But with the LP, the tolerances are just so good, and we just nailed it.
Yep.
You could feather that handle, and I don't know if you're glassing like this, but you probably will after this conversation. I don't use my hands. I just get it set up, and I use my face to move it.
Yep. That is what I discovered with my binoculars. I can just point the handle away from me and just set the tension, and then just use basically my nose and just slowly, scan across and then adjust down and then scan back.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can, you can use your face and pull back, a half inch and then just check all the corners, right? Pick things apart. That's how it came about. I mean, it just turned out great. We made I think we ran 6 prototypes last winter. And as soon as I got them, I mean, it was just like, oh man, these are awesome. I told my partner, I'm like, this is going to be big. And we never thought it'd be as big as it is now. I mean, thousands and thousands of those heads have gone out, and people are just now hearing about us, right? I mean, now they're getting into. I had people calling me from Alaska, and I was in a camp, and these guys had your stuff. I got to buy it. It's just now getting to that point. We don't even have the organic stuff yet. It's just that's how it happened. Is I wanted to create a panhead for hunters that wasn't a photography panhead, right? Not some giant fluid head, because most of the time you're running lighter optics anyway. You don't need a 18-ounce fluid head that's really big and bulky. You need something smaller, and it's the ease of use and the function for me that, like I said, using my face to move it around that really makes it stand out. Is more so than the weight. The weight's cool, but again, there's also that function, right? I don't want to build something that's super light but doesn't function, and that thing just does both. It's awesome.
Yeah. Just to put it in perspective as well, the website advertises 4.5 ounces.
Yeah, that's correct. It actually weighs 4.3.
Okay. So
it weighs less.
So for those of us that are using the metric system, 4.5 ounces is 127.5 grams.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I run a 11-pound rifle off it, coyote hunting, and it handles it no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. That panhead, I didn't design it for shooting. I designed it for glassing, right? But we do time. Yeah, you could shoot off of it.
Yep.
Just but don't bring it to the range and put 300 rounds on it. It's a 4-ounce panhead. It wasn't designed for that. But we shoot off them all the time. It's a great head for that. I've got some new prototypes coming out that are attachments, and they've killed 2 antelope and 2 axis deer, or 3 axis deer in the last week on them, and it's just running awesome on that LP panhead. So I'm excited. I think I might have been talking to you about that. You might see some pictures. We have some stuff coming out for rifle attachments and stuff that make that LP panhead even better.
Yeah, I saw something on I think it was your Instagram or might have been someone else's, and they had a rifle sitting on it, but they had the attachment part blacked out.
Yeah. I'm trying to create that frenzy, I can't show all my secrets yet. I'm hoping I was going to wait till spring, but that one's just too good not to release. So I think I might release that right before Christmas time.
Yep.
Get it out to everybody so they can get it, put it under the tree, put it in the stocking. But it's a really cool attachment that's going to be coming out. It's ultralight, but it's also very functional. And I think we knocked it out of the park on that thing. So the prototypes, we have 5 of those prototypes in the field right now. I really want to run things through the paces before I release to market, right? Rushing, I chase perfection. So I'm always tweaking and changing and doing things on everything I build. So I find it's better to spend 6 months to a year in the field prototyping and changing things, tweaking things, than to create 1,000 of them. Then, even when I do create 1,000, and I think they're perfect, someone's going to notice something that I need to change later on, right?
Yeah.
A year from now, I'll be like, oh, I should have done this. So you tweak things here and there to make them a little bit better.
Yeah. And one of the things I've sort of heard amongst a common thread amongst some of the people I've interviewed on the podcast that do make their own gear is very similar to that. What you're saying, they're using it themselves, so they've developed it from a need that they identified, and it was something that they wanted. And then when they took that step to release it in the market, they realised just how big the need for it was. It wasn't just them thinking that this would be a good idea. All of a sudden, everybody looks at it and goes, "Wow, that's a good idea. I'm going to buy that." And that I guess quest for perfection as well. People are they're always looking at ways of fine tuning things or adjusting, the macro elements of it to bring out a product that they're then confident to release onto the market. Not just rushing and pushing something out there and then in a year's time or something or other bringing out version 0.2. That people want to bring something out that is a good finished product and will stand as that product for many years to come.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Tricer started, right? It was based off hunts I was going on, carrying a bunch of weight, and just thinking there had to be a better way to skin this cat, right? So I build this stuff for myself. I don't want to just go build a product to make money on. I want to build something people are proud of. I mean, that's why if someone gives me we don't really have, all of our reviews are 5-star on the site. I mean, a couple 4 stars, but if somebody has an issue with one of my things, I'm not going to lie. We have, I don't know, 5,000 panheads on the market now or something like that.
Yep.
And, if something goes wrong, I mean, sometimes something happens when you machine them. I want to fix it right then. I want them to have a great experience with that product.
Yep.
I mean, I want it to be perfect for them. And I build it, and I love that guys are out there using my stuff and enjoying it. And something about that, you have to take pride in what you're making. I don't want to build garbage. I want to build things that work for people and help people be successful. I mean, I get the biggest kick out of it, man. I get the biggest kick out of all these guys across the world now running my stuff, sending me pictures and just thank you. This thing's incredible. I was able to find this goat. I was able to find this sheep or this. Look at this. This guy texted me today. He's like, look at this deer I shot. He told me you want me to use it to find things. He told me you want me to use it to find things and kill them. And look at the size of this buck. I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's so cool, man. They get to use my stuff and do that. And I want to make sure I'm giving them a product that helps them to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something similar I hear as well from the other people I've spoken to, that they love, opening up their social media or an email and seeing somebody, in a crazy adventure, with a massive animal and there's their gear, in the picture frame. So must be great to do that, to see, everybody benefiting from things that have come out of your head or from your hands.
Yeah, that's what I do it for. Honestly, it's that's what gives me the most joy. Selling things is cool, but seeing people use it and enjoy something that I made really brings. I mean, I'm an inventor. I have 3 patents in other industries as well. But when you see something you make being used and then changing an industry, right? Like my other products have changed industries as well in the HVAC space. It really does. It's neat. Yep. And people see it and they understand it. It wasn't just a fluke. Yeah. It wasn't just something I came up with, right? Like when they're using these tripods and they're like, these are the best tripods we've ever had, or this panhead's incredible. Thank you. That means the world to me. I mean, I tell my team all the time over here at Tricer that we are built on great products and great customer service. And we want to take care of our customers, and we want to do whatever we can to make them have a great experience with our products and with our company. And I just get the biggest kick out of it, man. I feel like I got all these friends all over the West hunting, and I have 5 kids. I'm not hunting nowhere near as much as some of these guys. And when they're not using my stuff, I feel like I'm out there.
Yeah, living
vicariously through. I'm vicariously living through them, right? Like I had a part in you going and shooting a moose this year, right? I had a part in this guy just killed a caribou with his bow, and he sent me pictures, and he had it in my game bags, and he was just tell me everyone in camp wants to buy your set up now. There's 6 guys and they're all going to order one when we get home. I just get a kick out of that. And it's not so much the sale. It's that, man, these guys were out there and they had something else and they saw ours and they thought, wow, that's awesome. And I get a kick out of people thinking what we're doing is cool.
Now I see you've got a bino adapter and an arca plate as well.
Yep.
I'll make a disclosure to you. Because I have range finding binoculars, I can't use those stud style bino adapters.
Yep.
So I do.
I got something for you this spring. I got
Okay.
something for you.
All right. Well, I have been using. I do have the ASIAC equipment bino clamp,
Hmm.
and of course, that has a ARCA compatible
Hmm.
plate on the bottom of it. So that goes really well. It works hand in hand with the pan head, your
Yeah.
pan head as well. So, but I have used a similar style bino adapter years ago on different binos. So I do sort of know how they work and how easy they are, and makes
What
everything a whole lot
makes
easier.
everything easy?
Mm.
Yeah, and they're super compatible with all kinds of different binos, universal. What binos are you running? I'm just curious. The Swaros?
No, Leica.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm working on something that'll be worthy of your $3,000 binoculars. That's my goal.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
That's my goal, right? Is to make something that looks like it's worth the price of what you paid for those binos, and that should be coming out in the spring for something focused on the NL Pures, the ELRs, the EL ranges, the Leicas, the Geovids, right? I'm working on something special for those things that'll
Mm.
be out. And yeah, we got the bino adapter, and people love that. It's like 2 ounces. It comes with 2 studs in it because every time I hate people. And what makes ours different, ours has ARCA built into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, every other bino adapter, you have to go buy an adapter plate for it.
Yep.
It doesn't come with the studs. You got to buy an extra stud. So I said, no, when we make this thing, let's not try and upcharge people. Let's make it with an ARCA plate built into it,
Mm.
and let's make it with 2 studs, because most guys have 2 pairs of binos. And so
Yep.
when you buy it, you get the whole thing. It's $50. It's all right there, and people love it. We sell thousands and thousands of those things, and we brought that to market last summer. Kind of put us on this journey, and people love it.
Mm. Yeah.
And
No.
then,
That was with the Bino adapter I had. That was one thing I had to buy a separate plate for it and attach that as well. So
yeah,
that was an additional cost. So yeah, that's a good point you've made. Is that yours comes with the ARCA already molded into it.
yeah, we're kind of forcing the industry to go ARCA Swiss. I
Mm.
mean, I think it's so silly that why would you sell a bino adapter and then sell them a plate for $20?
Mm.
Just make the damn plate on the thing. So, and you're seeing a lot of my competitors now are switching over to ARC Swiss from their proprietary clamps and stuff. It's
Mm.
just all the spotters now are coming ARCA Swiss, which is
Mm.
neat, like the newer spotters, which is great.
Yep.
But yeah, we got that ARCA plate that we came out with. It weighs 0.6 ounces. That thing is just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have 10 of them right now in my own kit, just on all kinds of different stuff, cameras and spotting scopes, and just they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
People love it. It's just built for hunters. It's fully skeletonized. There's nothing left on it. It's about as wide as the LP head, because you don't need to have some giant plates, especially for your binos. And the whole top is rubber, so it won't spin on you.
Yep.
Right. So lots of people put something on and start spinning. It's just that ARCA plate is awesome. So $20, it's well worth the price of admission for that thing.
Mm. So with the new tripods then that you've got out, do you still find that there's a need for the other models that you've got, like the GTP1, or is it GTPI?
GTP1.
GTP1.
So the GTP, I would say the GTP3 kind of isn't really gonna. Once we sell out of that, we're probably done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, GTP1 definitely has a need because it's this ultralight. If you're a minimalist guy, you have a 20-ounce. It's a 19-ounce tripod that fits in your pack, super small.
Mm.
But it definitely has a need. We still sell a lot of those. Just compared to it's a niche product, right? So we still sell quite a few of those, but probably 10% of what we saw on the other ones.
Yeah.
On the AD and the BC.
Yeah.
But we are going to continue to sell the GTP1 for sure. It's a tripod that's, like, say you got a camera crew with you and you don't want to carry 2 tripods. You throw that in your pack and you have an extra tripod to film with, right? So if I'm going to go out and I have my tripod already for glassing, I already have my trekking poles, why not bring that with me? And now my camera can sit on that, right?
Yep.
Or if you want a glass off it, I used that thing for 3 seasons before I made these other tripods. So I think it's a great tripod.
Yeah. So just for the purpose of everybody that's listening in, because obviously they're not looking at what I'm looking at, the GTP1 is a tripod, but it only has one leg, and the other 2 legs have a small adapter where you put your trekking poles in it upside down. So you put the pointy end of the trekking pole in, and they substitute the other 2 legs. So yeah, I thought that was a great idea, and it's something that I've sort of even mucked around trying to modify another tripod that I had. That I wasn't terribly worried if I ruined it, but at the same time. But obviously then the need is to carry two trekking poles with you. So yeah, if you're going to be carrying the trekking poles and carrying that weight with you, then that's certainly a good option. But there really isn't a great deal of difference between the weights of the BC and the AD and that system anyway.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one, didn't I? But yeah, it's a great tripod. It really is. But yeah, the BC and the AD are they're taking off like wildfire. I mean, we can't, like I said, we can't keep them in stock. Just going through them as fast as we shipment come in a week and a half ago, and I'm already worried they're going to be sold out by next week.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to, the growth we've experienced with those tripods and that panhead, we never could have predicted it, and we're just chasing it constantly, trying to keep up. It's been pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a great tripod. It's definitely a niche tripod for niche people, but there are guys who are just ultra light. And then for me over here, I always have trekking poles. We're hunting really mountainous stuff, so you need trekking poles are like 4-wheel drive, especially when you put an elk down or a deer down. You got 100 pounds on your back.
Yeah.
Those trekking poles will save your life. I mean, it's just there's something about being able to lean on those things. You're going up a big hill, or have something to stabilize you when you go over a rock. It's just they're pretty much in all of our packs now. I mean, they used to be for sissies 10 years ago, and now everyone runs trekking poles.
100%, mate. Yeah,
common thing.
I won't go without trekking poles now, and I mean my knees and my back and hip aren't as anywhere near as young as they used to be. And I remember years ago I was the same thinking. I don't need trekking poles, that's for old men. And then I went on a holiday to Bali, and we climbed a volcano, an active volcano, and the guide there insisted that we take a trekking pole, at least one trekking pole with us. He wouldn't let us go without it. And after doing that and being forced to use the trekking pole, when I came back from that trip, I went out and bought a set.
Oh yeah, they are incredible. They're not even an option for me anymore. They're in the pack every time I go out. It just makes your life so much easier, especially when you get the weight on, especially when you're hiking in. Like I might not use them once I'm in, right? So let's say I'm hiking in 6 miles to a camp. I've got 60 pounds on my back with rifle, optics, whatever. Having those trekking poles helps. Then maybe I set up camp, and then I'm going with a day pack after that, or a smaller kit. I might not have I might have them in my pack, maybe not in my hands. Plus, they can be a little bit noisy, right? You don't want to be clack, 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 clack when you're looking for game. But they're always with me at all times, because especially when you shoot something, it's just so nice to be able to have those trekking poles. There's something about going up a steep hill and being able to lean against those things and hold your body up. That is just, it's a great feeling. It really is.
Even just having it there too as a temporary rest for your bino, so you can sit down and if you want to glass something quickly, pop it on top, and they've got a lot of uses. I've used them. I've sort of lashed them together and used them as a bit of a extended bipod to shoot over when I need to get above some long grass. So yeah, I'm the same. If they're not in my hand, then they're on my pack. So
yeah, I mean, I use them even when you shoot an elk. I'll make that same D, time together. I'll hold their quarter up, so I can get in there and cut at it. Because you're trying to hold up an elk quarter while someone gets in there and cuts the joint is a pain. But you use those trekking poles to hold the leg up while you get in there and work. And they have all kinds of uses. I mean, I use them for my tarps, right? So I have them in there. So if it's raining, I always have a tarp in my pack out here, because you just never know when it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So then I'll use 2 trekking poles in the front, and then shot the back down to the ground or to a tree or something, then I'm covered. I mean, they have so many uses, multiple uses, right? We make a TP adapter as well for them, so you can use them for your center post of your TP. That's kind of what started Tricer, was the whole trekking pole tripod thing, right? So I'm passionate about it. I'm going to keep those tripods in the line for sure.
Yeah. Well, in terms of gear then, and non-Tricer related gear, what are some? Give me 5 items that Drew never leaves out of his backpack.
Oh, geez. 5 items. Dude wipes. Dude wipes. So like a wipey. Yep. Toilet paper. We'll put on the same thing. Dude wipes and toilet paper. Those are always in my pack, no matter what.
No, I'm a big fan of taking the bum wipes as well.
just for cleaning up.
Yeah, just cleaning up, freshening up a bit. It's nothing worse than getting a little bit too funky down there, and no, it doesn't hurt.
When you kill something, it's great to have them, and they're cheap. Some more stuff in my kit. I always have a tarp.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a tarp because it's just something I can cover me with. I guess I can't say tripod. We already did tripod. So I always have an inReach, no matter where I'm going. I always have an inReach, a way to get out, and you guys use inReaches, yeah?
Yep.
So way for safety. I always have that in my kit, no matter what. I always use a jet boil now.
Okay.
I used to try and go ultralight with, just the stoves and the pots and stuff, and I feel like the jet boil is just something that's just convenient and easy for me. I always have a jet boil, no matter what. For my backpacking trips now, I like it more. I'm trying their mini mo this year. It's a little bit bigger one because I've been doing a lot of ramen.
Yeah.
So it's easier to eat out of. It's nice to be able to cook coffee in, cook ramen in, use in the middle of the day, spark it up.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, I'm gonna go home and be like, oh man, I have so many things I always have in my kit. What do I always have in there? Paracord.
Okay.
100%, 100 foot of paracord. I'm trying to think of cheap things I have. They're not just expensive gear, right? I mean, obviously I have pads and I have my quilts and tents, but I always have paracord at 100 foot of it, no matter what.
Yeah.
I find that 50 foot's not enough, and man, you have so many uses for paracord when you're out there. Especially when we have to hang quarters and stuff here because we have bears, right, and things that can get into them, wolves, whatever. You throw an elk over a tree, 50 foot's about is what you need to get that thing over the tree and pulled up because you got from the tree branch down to the ground, then the elk up. Yep. Same thing with hanging food. Paracord works for that. I've used paracord. I've made belts out there for people. We were on a backpacking trip with our kids. I made a belt for a kid last time we were out. I mean, something goes wrong, you got to put guy lines on your tent. You can make one super simply with that. I've hung tarps with paracord. So there's 5 things. So what we did dude wipes.
Yep.
Did
tarp,
jet boil, tarp, jet boil,
inReach, and paracord.
inReach and paracord. There's 5 things that are pretty simple in your kit. I like doing some of the lower dollar things like the paracord and the dude wipes. Those are nice to have in there.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm a big fan of the tarp too, bringing a little lightweight tarp and just having that as a temporary shelter if you've got to sit out a storm or even get a bit of sun shade while you're sitting down glassing or having lunch or something.
Yeah, the tarp it saved our butt. We went on an elk hunt last year in Oregon, and it was miserable. It snowed and rained the whole time. But having that tarp, we had the tarp up and we made a little fire in the rocks next to us, and we were able to still kind of make do. Yeah. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to lay in the tent when it's a storm. I'm going to go out there and try and find animals because they don't go in the tent. They're still out there somewhere. So
yeah. No.
You can't find them from the tent, right? Sometimes you get lucky, you find them.
Exactly. Yeah, I see that quite a few times on some people's YouTube videos. They're sitting in the tent and they're filming from inside the tent and they're saying, it's raining out there, so we're in the tent and we've been in here for hours. And I sort of think, well, same sort of thing, as you do. The animals are still going to be out there, and when it stops raining, that's a good opportunity to be right there and then and be out there looking around. But each to their own. I guess that comes back to what I said before. Everybody's got their tolerance for discomfort.
And I'll tell you what, my kid shot his deer last year or 2 years ago. And it was, I think, 18 degrees and the winds were like 30 to 40 miles per hour. It had been raining. It was miserable. It was like day 5 of the 6-day hunt. And he killed a deer that morning. Found the deer. He was still up on his feet. We found him, went over to put a stock on him, and he shot that deer at 385 yards. What is that? 350 meters, 400 meters. He shot that deer.
Yep.
So they're still out there. They don't. There's no hotel for elk and deer when it gets cold.
Yeah, that's right.
They're still out there somewhere.
Yep.
Now fog, on the other hand, fog makes it. I was out hunting this morning and we were socked in for 2 hours. That sucked.
Yeah.
Nothing to do about that. You can't see. It's just miserable. So
exactly.
We ended up packing up and going and hiking out and still hunting. And of course, as soon as we started still hunting, the fog started to lift.
Yep. It's always the way.
And fog's miserable.
I'm doing a bit of a test at the moment on jet boil and some other stove options. I'm thinking about going away from the gas canister style stove and going to a liquid fuel stove.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm
Like
running.
MSR popcorn or something.
Yeah. There's a couple of different brands that I'm looking at. But I got onto because I went away from the jet boil and I got some titanium mugs and a Soto Windmaster to try that. And last trip I did, I ran out of gas basically, and what I felt was prematurely. So did a bit of research and I've picked up a new pot. It's made by Olicamp, Olicamp. And it's kind of like a jet boil. It's got the same sort of heat exchange style
Gotcha.
of
Yeah.
bottom to it, but it's a bit wider and it's got a bigger diameter, and it's got inbuilt handles, and doesn't have the the thing around the material around it that the jet boil does. So I went to the titanium mug so that I could use them in a fire as an alternative to the gas stove to preserve gas and so forth. And this one, without having that wetsuit material around it, obviously you can still use it in a fire. It's got the handles on it. But I found so far the testing that I've done, it is quite a bit faster than a jet boil with the Soto Windmaster. Yeah.
Really?
And I think the bigger surface area, the bigger diameter has a bit to do with it, because there's not a lot of difference in the design between it and the jet boil in terms of that heat transfer sort of waffling that they have underneath. And it's still, super light. So yeah, I'm doing some timed testings when I make my coffee in the morning, and I'm gonna then get hold of a liquid fuel stove and have a play around with that as well.
Yeah, that mini mo's got a wider bowl on it, so I wonder if that'll be the same situation. You're thinking because maybe the water's not as deep.
Yeah.
It's cooking faster, so maybe that mini mo that does make sense.
I have a mini mo too, and the heat exchange is still the same diameter, even though the pot's bigger. The heat exchange is still the same as a standard jet boil.
Whereas, that's probably why you're not getting the heat spread out as much as the other one.
Anyway, I'm like you, mate. I'm sort of a bit of a gear junkie and gear nerd, and I just like playing around with things. And sometimes the budget allows me to do certain things, so I'll take that opportunity and muck around with it. And then I'll use the podcast as a bit of a platform to sort of share the results and give people some other options and ideas.
And that's the thing with gear too, right? Is so once you've kind of established yourself, then you can start tweaking one or two things here or there, trying it out, know. So you can change. You already know you have everything else in your kit. You think about when you first started doing this, you're probably not even using any of the stuff you bought in the beginning. You change, and there's a lot of stuff that you just find that works for you. And then once you have it, you got it. Yeah. Something I'm going to try this year, I don't know if you're trying it at all, is one of those air pad pumps.
I've seen those.
You seen those?
Yeah.
And I thought it was like trekking poles. Like, no way. But I've heard Remy Warren just going crazy about how much he loves these things. And I had a few friends told me the same thing, especially when I'm out with my kids. I'm going to blow up multiple,
Yeah.
You just put that pump on there and it blows that sucker right up. And they only weigh a few ounces, and they're supposed to be just great, especially if you're running like the thicker, bigger pads, not just the Thermarest, some of those square 3-inch deep thick pads.
Yeah, no, I was surprised. I think I saw it was either Remy or Aaron Snyder was talking about it, and I was quite surprised to see them promoting it. And I thought, well, if they're doing it, like those guys are pretty hardcore. So if they're doing it, it obviously is worthwhile.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I heard. When I hear Remy Warren's can do that, I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a gimmick. And he doesn't get any money from them. He just bought, these sell them on Amazon. They have them there for $20 or $30. I don't know. They're pretty common. They have them probably all your sporting goods stores too. But yeah, I'm going to try that out this year. That's the piece of gear I'm going to put in my kit to try on some of these backpack hunts. I'm trying a bigger pad too as well. I can't remember the name of it. It's a wider pad, like 3 inches thick. I find myself rolling around a lot, like I said. So I want to try something, maybe see if it's more comfortable for me to sleep. A little bit more weight, but I think it's like 16 ounces versus 12 ounces, whatever I'm running right now.
Yeah.
only a few ounces more, but it's going to be more comfortable. But I really don't want to blow that thing up. It's probably twice as much air in that thing as my other one does. So I'm going to try one of those pumps on it and see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's not so bad when you're setting up camp for one day, but when you're going spike camping and you're moving every night, it can get tiring blowing the thing up and down every night, you know?
Yeah. And it's not good for the longevity of the air pads either, to have your breath in there, because obviously the moisture gets in there and can cause problems.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Like I said, I've had my Thermarest for, I don't even know how many seasons, 8 years now or something. And I've blown it up every time, and it doesn't smell like mold or anything. But every time I blow it up, I'm like, man, this thing's got to be pretty nasty inside, you know? But yeah, that's what they say, is if you use the pump, because they come with like that whole, that pillowcase thing where you can kind of pump the air into them.
Yep.
But I never use those things.
Okay.
I just, they annoy me. So I just blow them up in my mouth. And,
Right.
But it's probably not right. That's another reason I want to try and use the pump instead of the blowing my mouth, because I am worried about mold being in there and hurting the pad, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm a good boy, mate. I follow the rules. I follow the instructions. So I use that bag.
You do?
Yeah.
But
I
also start.
I'd be interested if you did, when you do pop that Thermarest and it's well and truly dead, be interested if you cut it open and have a look and just see what it looks like. Yeah, might be scary.
See what's growing. See what's growing inside of it. You know, another thing that would being a good boy. I was at a trade show, so I was hanging out with the Jetboil guys last week, and I said, "Hey, I just want you to know that I always start the thing when the pot's still on it." And you're supposed to take the pot off, start it, put the pot back on.
Yep.
And they said, yeah, it's just a safety thing. You can do it. Just as long as there's water in there, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to pop it off. But I'm always like, it's annoying to fill with water, take the thing off, turn it on, put it back on. I always just spark that sucker up. And I feel like it starts better too, because you get the gas in there, and got a little bomb underneath the thing. It starts right up. But I guess I don't follow the rules of some of that stuff, I guess.
Well, I guess I'm mindful of your time, Drew. I know you've got kids, and it's with the time difference, it's your evening time over there now. It's middle of the day over here for me. But some big news, I guess, for Australia in particular, that you probably want to share.
Oh yeah, we just signed up with Modern Hunter. So Modern Hunter is now our distributor over there for you guys. Hit up James. They've got all of our stuff in stock, and they're running it. And want to make something easier, not deal with customs and shipping it, and one at a time across the country or across the world. So if you need any of our gear from Tricer, go hit up Modern Hunter. They've got it in stock, and they will take care of you. And any issues, anything goes wrong, you can just email me, and I will take care of you, because you're talking to me directly. We're still a mom and pop style company. We're small, and we want to make sure you are taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Just hit up Modern Hunter.
Yeah, no, we're even though these days with the internet and global shipping and so forth, it is easy for us to get things sent over from different countries, and obviously America has a much bigger range and access to resources because of your much larger hunting community over there. So, like I said, I had to get mine from Go Hunt. So it was no issue to get it shipped over, but having an Australian business that we can support is much preferable. And obviously, then the flow on, it comes back to you as well, supporting your business. And I'm all about encouraging, supporting Australian businesses first, small businesses, and then supporting the hunters themselves. People like you who are out there. Yep. Out there doing it, inventing this sort of stuff, and putting it out there for everyone's benefit. So we certainly appreciate having an Australian distributor, and I know I've seen the Modern Hunter advertising it on their social media just recently. So it is only a very recent partnership. And by the time this podcast comes out, they'll probably be well and truly established. But I'm certainly going to give them a plug too in the show notes and link them in, because they are a good bunch of fellas. I got to meet them earlier this year. So
yeah, I mean they're hunters we're all doing the same thing in different parts of the world, and that's what's beautiful. So yeah, definitely buy it from them. I mean, they have all the exclusive rights to Australia and New Zealand now, and they're making my life easier by having it down there. Plus, you're going to get the stuff so much faster from them, right?
Yep.
And we will ship direct to Australia now. We figured that out. We were fighting it, but now it turns out you guys hunt a lot more than I thought. So sell a lot of stuff down there to you guys. So now the Modern Hunter has it, and they will be able to distribute to you quickly.
Great stuff. All right, Drew, I really appreciate your time, and like I said, I've been enjoying the panhead, and can provide a personal recommendation to anyone listening in. That is well and truly a good bit of gear, and well worth the investment. I'm super jealous of the amount of hunting you've been able to do as well. You mentioned you'd hunted sheep before. Is that in Alaska or different sheep?
No, the Aoudad sheep out in New Mexico. So it's like
Okay.
the poor man's sheep.
Yeah.
I'm still I apply for sheep every year, but drawing a sheep tag is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, someday I'm gonna draw one at some point in my life. I've got a lot of points now built up in a lot of states, so I'm gonna draw one. But
Yeah. Oh, my fantasy is a Dall's ram in Alaska.
yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah. So that'll be, obviously for us, it's a much bigger investment than it is for you guys, but you would still have to go guided as well for that.
Yeah, it's you can't get out of it for less than $25,000 now.
Yeah.
It's pretty unreal what's happened with these guided hunts. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It's I don't know. It's trying to get into some of these hunts now. It's just not for the average guy, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's good for the guides, I guess. If you want to do a stone sheep hunt, it's 75,000 now.
Oh yeah, I know.
It doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, if people are willing to pay it, it's supply and demand, and people are willing to pay it, and they're doing it. And man, one of my friends just did one last year, and he is not a wealthy man, and he's like, I want to go back. But 25 grand, and he's like, you don't understand. It changed my life. Yep. I want to go back.
Yep.
It was worth every freaking penny. It just changed my life. And he shot a sheep, carried that thing out. I think we were 12 miles back or something crazy, and it's just, he said it was worth every penny.
Yeah,
doing it.
Yep.
Someday.
My dream involves flying in a Super Cub, and then wandering around the hills of Alaska or the mountains of Alaska rather for 10 days. And if I don't get to pull the trigger, that's everything that I want out of that hunt. So one day.
That's my my favorite thing is fly-ins, right? We did a fly-in into the Frank Church,
mm-hmm.
and it just there's something about getting left by a plane and there's no way getting out. It's just, there's something awesome about it, especially Alaska. We're supposed to go do a caribou hunt, put our deposits in. It's like, I think it was like $3,800 to do the hunt, and we put our $2,000 deposits in, and then they put some law in place where they canceled the hunting in those certain units because of some native thing for the natives only.
Oh, yeah.
They kept our deposits, won't give them back to us, and we're perpetually going on this hunt every year now. It's been 2 years and it hasn't happened. So that's a bummer. But there's something about being dropped off in the middle of grizzly bear country, that's just sexy. It just sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yep. No.
You are very small when you go to.
Yeah, that's right. And that's one of the famous Jack O'Connor quotes, isn't it, about sheep hunting? Something along the lines of after the man's first sheep hunt, he decides there and then whether he is a sheep hunter for life or never again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It seems to me that everyone who does it says it is worth it. I just talked to a guy today. He was in camp. He just spent 14 days and he didn't kill a sheep. And he's like, it was incredible.
Yeah.
So he spent that money. You don't get your money back if you don't pull the trigger.
No. And and that's it. It's hunting. There's no guarantees. If it was a guarantee, it'd be called shooting and not hunting.
Yep. And he said it was the adventure of a lifetime. He can't wait to go back. It was worth it. And we were just talking. It was neat to hear that. It's great to be able to hear all these stories from people all around the world and, using our stuff and getting to live through them and hear their stories.
Well, Drew, I'm sure we could keep talking hunting for a few more hours, mate. And like I said, I'm mindful of your time, and I really appreciated you're coming on board. And like I said, I'll put some links into the show notes for everything. But what's the best way for people to find you and people to reach out to you?
Website, tricerusa.com. Email, you can email me directly at Drew that's DREW @tricerusa.com. And then Instagram, obviously, is probably the best place to find us and see what we're doing, all the new products coming out. That's Tricer USA on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing on Facebook, Tricer USA on Facebook as well. So hit us up there and let me know if you have any questions. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, all right. Well, excited to see what else Drew and Tricer are bringing out. And we'll certainly be giving the Modern Hunter a plug in the show notes too, but I am planning on reaching out to them in the future for to come on the podcast as a guest. So no doubt we'll talk more about your gear then too.
Yeah. Well, with the stuff coming out in the spring is going to blow people's minds. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Stuff coming out in the spring is going to be, it's going to add to what we're doing. So we're not going to replace what we're doing. The stuff we're making right now is going to continue to happen, and it has a place. This new stuff is for a different purpose, but also for hunting, and it's going to be groundbreaking. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, great. All right, I can't wait.
All right, thank you, man. It's nice talking to you.
Hey, thank you for listening in. If you'd like to contact me for a chat, pass on any feedback, or have some ideas for future podcasts, please reach out to me on Instagram at australian.hunting.backcountry or email australian.hunting.backcountry@outlook.com.au. For now though, please look after yourselves and your mates.